So just wait for a while I am admitting some of your classmates. Sige, I think nanatanan. So before we start our discussion, kinsay na ay kwan or wants to volunteer for our opening prayer? Who wants to volunteer? Okay, Wella May.
Good evening, Miss.
Good evening.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, and your beloved Son, Jesus Christ, as we go on through our lessons tonight, may you make us instruments to do good things. Please enlighten our minds. Give us the strength to participate in our subject tonight. Thank you for this opportunity to learn and serve others, and help us to always remember the truth of your glory. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen. Okay, so next time, no, maybe I'll just assign who will be the one to lead the prayer every night. So we will start on letter A, no? So I'll just have or I'll just make a list so that no kung kinsa tong in charge, he or she will be the one to lead us to prayer. Okay? So I'll just send it to our group later or maybe tomorrow. All right, thank you, Wella. So, good evening, everyone. So, welcome back to our session. So, for tonight, this is just a continuation for the overview of the accounting. No, so last time we have discussed what is accounting, and then the overview of some items or terms in relation to accounting, as well as the accounting concepts. So, so some of you asked, what is my reference now for this presentation or for this topic? Actually, I have different references. No, I did not get this on just one reference, especially for Win Valiada. So I think some of you have a book of Win Valiada, but it is a good reference, so it is a good book. And as I have said, accounting for one book is still the same for another book. So for this topic, still it isn't there, no, in Win Valiada. Maybe in chapter 1. So you'll just go over for that book and also study, no, for all the items or for all the topics in that book. No, that is parallel to our topic right now. So again, so I forgot to upload this presentation on our Google Classroom. So I'll just upload it maybe tonight. So just remind me if I still did not upload it. All right, so let us proceed to our next topic, under the overview of accounting or accounting standards and the conceptual framework. So we have lesson 4, the common branches of accounting. So we have 4. I'll just go over it. Oh, 12. So we have 12 branches of accounting. So before, in my undergraduate, it is still 6. Now it is 12. So nagdoble. So we will start with financial accounting. So financial accounting is the common, or the most familiar branch of accounting. So it is a branch of accounting that focuses on general purpose financial statement. So we have identified previously, last time, what is the difference between general purpose financial statement and the special purpose financial statement or reports. So for the general purpose financial statements, these are statements that cater to the common needs of a wide range of external users. So when you say external, those who do not have the authority to demand financial reports tailored to their specific needs. So meaning, just like a manager or a CEO. Financial accounting is governed by the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. So these are the standards that are being followed by accounting or accounting all over the Philippines. So we have the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, especially how to account or how to record the different transactions the company encountered. So under the financial accounting, under the branch of the financial accounting, we have we need to differentiate what is the difference between financial accounting and financial reporting. So the term financial accounting is often used interchangeably with the term financial reporting. Although both financial accounting and financial reporting focus on general purpose financial statements, the latter, in which it is the financial reporting, endeavors to promote principles that are also useful in other financial reporting. So for in the broad sense, mas dako or mas broad si financial reporting compared to financial accounting. So under financial reporting is the financial accounting, and then there are some or other financial reporting that are also part of general purpose financial reports. So other financial reporting comprises information provided outside the financial statement that assist in interpretation of a complete set of financial statements or improves users' ability to make efficient economic decisions. So how about financial statements and financial reports? So can we call the financial statements a financial report or a financial report a financial statement? So what's the difference? So financial statements are the structured presentation of an entity's financial position and results of its operation. So they are the end product of the accounting process. So we have said, this is the purpose or our main goal, to prepare a financial statement. And the means by which information gathered and processed are periodically communicated to users. So we have here the complete set of financial statements. We have already discussed this last time or enumerated. So we have the statement of financial position or what we call the balance sheet. statement of profit or loss, and other comprehensive income or the income statement, the statement of changes in equity, and the statement of cash flows. And then we also have the notes to financial statements. And then we also have the additional statement of financial position if it is required in some instances. So a financial report includes the financial statements plus other information provided outside the financial statement. So part of the financial report is the financial statement. The financial reporting involves the provision of financial information about an entity that is useful in making economic decisions by external users and assessing the management's stewardship. So here's the primary objectives of financial reporting: to provide information about economic resources, so claims to those resources, and changes in those resources. So the most common term for economic resources is the asset. Claims to those resources, so we have the liabilities. And changes in those resources, so asset minus liabilities equals equity. So we have here equity. And then, aside from providing information about the assets, liabilities, and equity, so financial reporting also, the objective is to provide information that is useful in making investment and credit decisions. And then to provide information that is useful in assessing the amounts and timing of future cash flows and future cash flows. So these are the three primary objectives of financial reporting. So we have the asset, liabilities, and equity, investment credit decisions, and then the timing of future cash flows. And then for the secondary objective, to provide information useful in assessing management, stewardship, or the effectiveness of the entity's management. So why is it na secondary ra siya? Because the main purpose of financial reporting or financial accounting is for the general user. And this information is internal. So even though they are not the primary user nato, but still they can be of use gihapon, or they can still use the financial statements. So another, aside from financial accounting, so the second branch of accounting is management accounting. So it refers to the accumulation and communication of information for use by internal users or management. So what's the difference between financial accounting and management accounting? Financial accounting focuses on the information for use of the external users, while for the management accounting, so information for internal users. So an offshoot of management accounting is management advisory services, so which includes services to clients on matters of accounting, finance, business policies, organization procedures, product cost, distribution, and many other phases of business conduct and operation. So that is why one of the subject in CPA board exam, we have the management advisory services, because most or some of the CPAs, they are under the management accounting, or one of their work or job is to assist the management. So they are sometimes part of the budgeting and planning for the business policies and strategies of the business. And then we also have the cost accounting. So it is a systematic recording and analysis of the cost of materials, labor, and overhead incident to production. And then we also have the auditing. So financial accounting, management accounting, cost accounting, and auditing. So auditing is the process of evaluating the correspondence of certain assertions with established criteria and expressing an opinion thereon. So diri ni mosulod na si public accounting. So public accounting or auditing. Then we also have the tax accounting. So the preparation of tax returns and rendering of tax advice, such as the determination of the tax consequences of certain proposed business endeavors. Then we also have the government accounting. So refers to the accounting for the government and its instrumentalities, placing emphasis on the custody of public funds, the purposes for which those funds are committed, and the responsibility and accountability of the individuals entrusted with those funds. We also have the fiduciary accounting, so refers to the handling of accounts managed by a person entrusted with the custody and management of property for the benefit of the others. So they are the one who handles or keep the accounts of a certain company or industry or entity. Then we also have the estate accounting, so refers to the handling of accounts for fiduciaries who wind up the affairs of a deceased person. So if someone dies, who will handle all his or her assets, liabilities, or equity. So dira mo sulod si estate accounting. We also have the new or the latest branch of accounting. We have the social accounting. So social and environmental accounting or social responsibility accounting. So the process of communicating the social and environmental effects of an entity's economic actions to the society. And then we also have the institutional accounting, so the accounting for non-profit entities other than the government. And then we have the accounting systems, installations of accounting procedures for the accumulation of financial data and designating of accounting firms to be used in data gathering. And then we also have the accounting research, pertains to the careful analysis of economic events and other variables to understand their impact on business or decisions. So accounting research includes a broad range of topics which may be related to one or more of the other branches of accounting, the economy as a whole, or the market environment. So these are the common branches of accounting. So pinaka-common or the most common type or branches of accounting is we have the financial accounting, management accounting, cost accounting, auditing, tax, government, and before academe is also included. So here it is under maybe under institutional or no. So okay. So in my reference, academe is not included, but academe or accountants in education are also part of the branches of accounting. So they are the one who discuss the topics about accounting. So actually the latest one that is included is the social accounting and as well as the accounting systems. So for the accounting systems, we have here the installation of accounting procedures, or most commonly softwares that are used or being used by most accountants in a business. So maybe you have heard about the QuickBooks, the SAP, the Xero, or the NetSuite. So those are the product of accounting systems. Okay, so let's proceed to bookkeeping and accounting. So bookkeeping refers to the process of recording the accounts of transaction of an entity. So if you are just recording, like journalizing, posting, or encoding all the transactions of the entity, so you are doing bookkeeping work. So bookkeeping normally ends with the preparation of the trial balance. Unlike accounting, bookkeeping does not require the interpretation of the significance of the processed information. So if later on, no, you want to be a bookkeeper, so actually, no, bookkeeping actually ends on the trial balance. But as of today, no, sometimes some bookkeepers also interpret the financial statements, or they are also the one who prepare financial statements. But in theory, no, accountants are the one who prepares the financial statements as well as interpret the financial statements, and then the one who record it, no, is the bookkeeper. So in a company, no, sometimes there's a company who has one bookkeeper and one accountant. So under the accountant, they have the bookkeeper, because the bookkeeper will be the one, no, to record all the transaction, and then the accountant shall be the one to prepare financial statement based on those information encoded by the bookkeeper. So the work of an accountant will start if the work of the bookkeeper ends. Okay, and then after that, no, bookkeeping and then accounting. Then once the accountant finally prepares or accomplished, no, the financial statements, and they will submit it to the auditor for checking and na siya ng audit, especially if year end, or if you will close the fiscal year or calendar year. So therefore, the auditor will audit the work of an accountant. So the work of an auditor will start if the work of an accountant ends. So mauna siya ang process, no? A bookkeeper will encode all the transactions. The accountant will prepare and interpret the financial statements, and then the auditor will be the one to check so if there are misstatements or errors in the financial statements, or not just statement or errors, as well as fraud. So mauna siya if you accountant or accountancy is very very beautiful, beautiful course, because later on, if God willing, you will be a CPA, or even if you will not become a CPA, you still have many options to choose from. If you want to be an auditor, or if you want to be, of course, the auditor. One of the requirements for being an auditor is you need to be a CPA. So you can't be an auditor if you can't pass the board exam. And then you can also be a tax accountant, or a government accountant, or a management accountant, or a financial accountant, or a general accountant, or a cost accountant. So daghan. There are so many options to choose from. Okay, and then also, you can become a bookkeeper, or just an accountant of a company. So accountancy. So accountancy refers to the profession or practice of accounting. So the practice of accounting can be broadly classified into two. We have the public and private. So public practice does not involve an employer-employee relationship. So this includes all the auditing firms that are being handled by auditors. So they're the one who they're the one who has no employer, because they are the employer. If you have an auditing firm, so you're the employer, you're not the employee. And then for the private practice, so it involves an employer-employee relationship, meaning the accountant is an employee. The accountant is an employee. So if you want to work in a private practice, dili gid ka ma-consider as employer. No, although if you're the one who owns the company, so you're the employer. But most of the accountants in a private practice are employees. So let's proceed to 4 sectors in the practice of accountancy. So under RA 9298, also known as the Philippine Accountancy Act of 2004, so mao ni siyang governing law in the Philippines na for all the accountancy or for the accountancy or the accounting practice here in the Philippines. We have the Philippine Accountancy Act of 2004 or the Republic Act 9298. So the practice of accounting is subclassified into the following. We have the practice of public accountancy and the practice of public accountancy danita. So it involves the rendering of audit or accounting related services to more than one client on a fee basis. So audit or accounting related services. So pwede po management services and tax services. Then we also have the practice in commerce and industry. So refers to the employment in the private sector in a position which involves decision making, requiring professional knowledge in the science of accounting, and such position requires that the holder thereof must be a certified public accountant. So most of the companies, they really look for a CPA, especially if it is confidential, financial. So the financial condition of the company, so they need an expert to be the one who handles the condition or the financial information of a company. But some, due to the limited number of CPAs, some of the companies, they also hire employees that are not CPAs. So as long as you're knowledgeable about what you are doing, so you can still do your task and achieve the goal of the accounting or the role or the goal of the accounting in which to provide information for decision making. Here DI. So another under the sector C, academe. So we have the practice in education or academe. So employment in an educational institution which involves the teaching of accounting, auditing, management advisory services, finance, business law, taxation, and other technically related subjects. So mao ni siya mga teachers ninyo just like me. So if you want to be an accountant, you can be an accountant in a private practice as well as you can be a teacher. Or if you're under the public accountancy or the public accounting, then you can still be a teacher as long as you meet the qualifications. And then we also have the practice in the government. So employment or appointment in a position in an accounting professional group in a government or in a government-owned and controlled corporation or GOCCs, including those performing proprietary functions where decision-making requires professional knowledge in the science of accounting, or where civil service eligibility as certified public accountant is a prerequisite. Now, for the government, they really required that an employee is a civil service eligible. So if you're CPA, you're automatically eligible na for the government. So you are considered to be a civil service eligible if you are a CPA. So accountants practicing under numbers 2 to 4, no, commerce and industry, academe, and government are considered in private practice. Okay, so let's proceed to accounting standards. So the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, or the PFRS, represents the generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, in the Philippines. So there is no other standards, no, that the accounting in the Philippines follows. So we have just the Philippine Financial Standards as the major, no, the major standards in the Philippines. So this is the generally accepted accounting principles of the Philippines. So the PFRS are standards and interpretations adopted by the Financial Reporting Standards Council here in the Philippines. So they comprise the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, the Philippine Accounting Standards, interpretations. So under sa PFRS, no, we have the three. So the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, no, mostly these are the new standards adopted by the Financial Reporting Standards Council. And then we have the Philippine Accounting Standards. These are standards that are based on the old standards of the Financial Reporting Standards Council. So actually, they just renamed it, no, from Philippine Accounting Standards to Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. So previously, the standards we followed is named or are named as Financial Accounting Standard. Then later on, they revised it and changed it to Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. So still the same na sila. And then some interpretations. So PFRS are accompanied by guidance to assist entities in applying their requirements. So a guidance states whether it is an integral part of the PFRS. So a guidance that is an integral part of the PFRS is mandatory. So just like here, no, in the Philippines, we have certain laws that we need to follow. So same is true with the accounting. So we have certain standards that we need to follow and be guided. So we cannot just just do whatever you want, no, just encode or debit here, debit credit here, no. So we need to follow or follow the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. So why is it that we need to follow the financial reporting standards or the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards? So for financial statements to be useful, they should be prepared using reporting standards that are generally acceptable. So the term here is generally acceptable. So if those standards are not generally accepted, so they cannot be useful to all general purpose financial users. So maybe you have a certain standard that is applicable to your company, but that standard is not applicable to some companies, or they are not generally accepted. So they can be rejected, no, in the preparation for accounting standards. So if each entity will develop its own standards, the financial statements would not be comparable, the risk of fraudulent reporting will be heightened, and economic decisions based on these financial statements would be grossly incorrect. So for this reason, entities should follow a uniform set of reporting standards when preparing and presenting financial statements. So dili na di applicable, no, ang just respect what, no, ng just respect my opinion. Dili pwede na siya sa financial accounting because we have certain standards that we need to follow. So the term generally acceptable means that either the standard has been established by an authoritative accounting rulemaker body or rulemaking body. Example, the PFRS adopted by the FRSC. So still those standards must be from an established authoritative body. So just like the Financial Reporting Standards Council. The principle has gained general acceptance due to practice over time and has been proven to be useful. Example, double entry recording and other implicit concepts. So the process of establishing financial accounting standards is a democratic process in that a majority of practicing accountants must agree with the standard before it becomes implemented. So hierarchy of reporting standards. When selecting the accounting policies, an entity considers the following in descending order. First, just like there are two ways to record or account the transaction. So unsang i-follow nimo. So we have here a standard, or a hierarchy of reporting standards that we need to follow. So Philippine Financial Reporting Standards first. So in the absence of PFRS that specifically applies to a transaction or event, management shall use its judgment in developing and applying an accounting policy that results in information that is relevant and reliable. So if you have a transaction and then gray area siya in the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, or there are no specific standards for those transactions, so we can go to the next hierarchy, that is the management judgment. So in making the judgment, so management shall refer to and consider the applicability of the following sources in descending order. The requirement in PFRS dealing with similar and related issues. So still, if there are similar cases or similar transaction nga mas duol ang nature to the a transaction na standard in the PFRS, so that will be followed. And then next, we have the conceptual framework. So again, like I said, if there is a conflict between PFRS and conceptual framework, so we need to follow the PFRS. If there's no PFRS, but we have a certain related issues under PFRS gihapon, so PFRS dealing with similar and related issues and conceptual framework, we still need to follow the PFRS. So the conceptual framework is just a guide, if there are gray areas or incomprehensible or cannot be determined the mga transactions. So later on, maybe next meeting, we will discuss what is this conceptual framework. So we have here, again, Philippine Financial Reporting Standards and then management judgment. So in making a judgment, apply the PFRS for similar dealings and conceptual framework. Management may also consider the following, pronouncement of other standard setting bodies, accounting literature, and accepted industry practice. So although the selection of appropriate accounting policies is the responsibility of the entity, the proper application of accounting principles is most dependent upon the professional judgment of the accountant. So under the management gihapon si accountant, and accountant can still help, or a key role or a key person in deciding whether how to account those transactions if they are not included in the accounting standards. But of course, the PFRS, pila na ni siya katuig na-implement or na-create. So how many years na? So I believe that most of the transactions are do have certain standards na. So accounting standard setting bodies and other relevant organization. Okay, so nawala na akong boses. So I'll just ask. Rona? Digamo,
Yes, Miss.
could you please read the first organization or standard setting bodies?
Yes po. First, the Financial Reporting Standards Council, or FREC, is the official accounting standard setting body in the Philippines, created under the Philippine Accountancy Act 2004, or the RA number 92898.
So we have the PF or the FRSC. So who is the one in charge in the preparation or creation of financial reporting standards? So this is the, or that is the Financial Reporting Standard Council. So we have 15 individuals under FRSC. So we have here, okay, one chairperson for FRSC, then representatives for different industries or companies. One for the BOA, mostly this is the chairperson of the Board of Accountancy also. Then we have the COA, the Commission on Audit, the one who is in charge in auditing the government institutions. Then we also have the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, one, BSP, Bureau of Internal Revenue, and a major organization composed of preparers and users of financial statement. So as you can see, dili lalim ang members of the Financial Reporting Standards Council. So they are experts, especially in dealings with all financial matters. Then we also have the representatives that are really CPAs. We have in the public practice 2 representatives, commerce and industry 2 representatives, academic education 2 representatives, government 2 representatives. So under na siya ni PICPA. So like what I've said, for example, if you graduate or if you will become a CPA, since it is a Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountants, so if you will become a CPA, you need to be a member, a registered member of PICPA. So dili ra mag-end ang journey ninyo as a CPA in the CPA board exam. You still need to follow education or career development. So it is under PICPA. So PICPA, we have 3 or 4 organizations or sub-organizations. If you are under auditing or if you're an auditor, so you are under public practice. If you are in a commerce or industry, or if you are in a business that is not a public or does not exercise public practice, so you are in the Certified Public Accountants in Commerce in Industry. So ng CPA CI. So CPA-C. Yeah. And then if you proceed with being a teacher, so academe or education, so National Association of Certified Public Accountants in Education. So there are different organization gihapon under PICPA. And then if you are in the government, so every year we have a national convention, and it is very useful for CPAs, especially those technical sessions that are related to your role as an accountant. So again, for the FRSC, we have 15 members total. one chairman plus 14 members. Total of 15 officers, no, for Financial Reporting Standard Council. Okay, accounting standard setting bodies, aside from FRSC, would you please read INTAC?
Yes po. Philippine Interpretation Committee or PIC is a committee formed by Accounting Standards Council or ASC. The producer of FRSC with the role of reviewing the interpretation of the International Financial Reporting Interpretation Committee for approval and adoption by FRSC.
Okay, thank you. So before actually, no, sangwa pa ang kaning FRSC, we do have certain standard setting body, and that is the ASC. That is why the standards are called PES, or Philippine Accounting Standards, because the one who created that is the Philippine Accounting Standards Council. So ng PASC, PASC, so their standards is PAS. But since na PFRSC or FRSC, so the standards is called as Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. So the name of the standards just follow the standard setting body. So predecessor of FRSC is the ASC, and ASC are the one who formed the PIC. So the PIC is the counterpart, no, of the International Financial Reporting Standards Committee for approval and adoption by FRSC. So diba, we have here so under PFRS, you also have the interpretations. So the PIC, or the Philippine Interpretations Committee, is responsible to reviewing the Philippine or the financial reporting standards. So again, the FRSC, the one who prepares or creates standards. PIC, so they are the one who reviews the interpretation for that standard. And then third, we have the BOA. Okay. Aligada, could you please read? Wala si Aligada. Rosel? Okay, how about Alera? Kayla? Alera?
Board of Accountancy is the professional regulatory board created under RA number 9298 to supervise the registration, licensure, and practice of accountancy in the Philippines. The BOA consists of a chairperson and 6 members appointed by the President of the Philippines. The board shall elect a vice chairperson from among its members for a term of 1 year.
So the most popular, we have the Board of Accountancy. So they're the one who regulate the CPA, no, the CPA examination. So Board of Accountancy, who among you here are familiar to the chairman of the Board of Accountancy? Kinsang nakahibaw sa chairman? Actually, ang chairman, si Kenyan Niela. Diligid ko kakon siyang surname. But he is a former professor of USJR. So, Bisaya. no, Cebuano, si Kenya Nola. Sakto. Yeah. So, muna siya ang chairman of the Board of Accountancy. And after niya after siya naging ng chairman of the board, at na ni gamay ang passing rate. But maybe good, strict good sila sa ilahang pag-choose or pag-select na sa mga CPAs. So at least nagpa-add challenge sa CPA profession. Opinion nyo la. Then we also have the Securities and Exchange Commission. A. Bentolan, Jeneline.
Yes, ma'am. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, is a government agency tasked in regulating corporations and partnerships, capital and investing markets, and investing public. Some SEC rulings affect the accounting requirements of entities and the adoption and application of accounting policies.
So we have the SEC. So they're the one who governs or supervise or regulates the corporations and partnerships. So the sole proprietorship are under DIT, the Department of Trade and DTI, Department of Trade and Industry. So you cannot create or form a corporation without an approval of SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Then we have the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Could you please read Boro? Krisha.
Yes. Bureau of National Revenue, BIR, after Revenue Code. These provisions do not always reflect the goals of financial reporting. However, they do at all times influence both accounting methods and procedures.
So we have the BIR, or the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So they're the one who administers the provision of the NIRC, or the one who that are included, or the tax code that are the source of regulations of the taxation system here in the Philippines. So this provision do not always reflect the goals of financial reporting, since that the taxation is different, or they also have some standards that are not applicable to financial reporting. However, they do at times influence the choice of accounting methods and procedures. So, like for example, in accounting, soon you will know that accounting is one of the concept, or the accounting concept is accrual accounting. So we are accruing or report or recording the transaction even though there is no cash involved, or like for example we haven't paid it yet. However, in BIR, they record the expense once paid. Now, unlike in accounting or in financial accounting, we record the expense as incurred. So that's the major difference now of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the tax code, and the financial accounting. But still, they can influence the choice of accounting method to be used. Then, aside from the BIR, we also have the BSP. So, Kantay.
Yes,
Please
Miss.
read.
Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or the BSP. It influences the selection and application of accounting policies by banks and other entities performing banking functions.
So the BSP or the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or the Central Bank of the Philippines. So if na ay mga inflation, no, or due to changes in economy, you're the one who prepare a memo, no, or notice to all the entities that will affect the financial information as well. So if you are an employee of a banking institution or entities, so dako gid ang role ni BSP sa inyong nga company. Then the Cooperative Development Authority, could you please read dito sa ito Ebrado, Sherry.
Good evening, Miss.
Good evening.
Cooperative Development Authority or CDA influences the selection and application of accounting policies by cooperatives. Accounting policies prescribed by a regulatory body or example BSP and CDA are sometimes referred to as regulatory accounting principles.
So for the co-op, no, or cooperative, they also have standard setting body, no, the CDA, Cooperative Development Authority. Kay most of the transaction in the co-op are not the same to the other companies like corporation and partnership. So they also have their own accounting policies and procedures. So ang nagagoverna nila is the Cooperative Development Authority. Okay, so those are the common standard setting bodies in the Philippines that are relevant in financial reporting. So we have the FRSC, the Financial Reporting Standards Council, the Philippine Interpretations Committee, the Board of Accountancy, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, and the Cooperative Development Authority. How about the international counterpart of those standard setting bodies as well as the accounting standards? So we have the International Accounting Standards. So the International Accounting Standards Board or the IASB is the standard setting body of the IFRS Foundation with the main objective of developing and promoting global accounting standards. So in global, we have the IASB or the International Accounting Standards Board. In the Philippines, we have the FRSC or the Financial Reporting Standards Council. So the IASB was established in April 1, 2001, so latest draft, as part of the International Accounting Standards Committee Foundation. So the IASC Foundation is a non-profit organization based in Delaware, USA, and is the parent of the IASC Foundation, was renamed to International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation or IFRS Foundation. So, si IASB, part ni siya no ni IFRS Foundation. So, their mother, yung pinaka-mother kid is the IFRS. They are the one who established financial accounting standards. Then part ana nila no na ay board. We have the International Accounting Standards Board. So, the focuses on creating or developing standards. No, under sa umbrella ni IFRS Foundation. So before, the name of the IFRS Foundation is the International Accounting Standards Committee or the IASC. So the standards issued by the IASB, no, if there's a standard na from them, no, ang tawag ana is International Financial Reporting Standards. So IFRS. What is the counterpart of IFRS in the Philippines? No, change yun lang ang international to Philippine. So we have the PFRS. So those standards that are created here in the Philippines, actually, no, gikapira na nato siya from the International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation. So therefore, if no kung unsa or what we are using as a standard here in the Philippines, they are also acceptable in other countries. That is why most of the CPAs here in the Philippines are also catering foreign client, no, or foreign companies, because ng what you are debiting or what you are crediting are also the debit and credit of the other countries, no. Ang naglahi ra or the difference ra, no, from Philippines and other countries is the taxation and law. But in accounting itself, no, the same ra gyud, because we are just copying, no, the PFRS is an exact imprint of the IFRS. So na same ra gyud na sila. Wala gyud na revision. So International Financial Reporting Standards or IFRS, International Accounting Standards or IAS, and interpretations. So IFRS composed of IFRS itself, no? Mo na siyang new. IAS mo na siyang old, and then the interpretations. So if you have remember, in the Philippines we have PFRS, and PFRS composed of Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, Philippine Accounting Standards, and interpretation. So the same ra gyud, no, ang Philippine and international. So the IFRS are standards issued by the IASB after it replaced its predecessor, the International Accounting Standards Committee. So in April 1, 2001. So before 2001 or before April 1, no, IASC na ang tawag. No, the name is IASC. However, it was revised as IASB, or it was replaced, no, it was renamed as IASB. So the IAS, the old standards, are standards issued by the IASC, which were adopted by the IASB. The PFRS and PAS are based on these standards. So, ano siya, no? International, we have the IASB. But in the Philippines, we have the FRSC. So ang old term or old name for IASB is the IASC. So the standard for IASB is the FIFRS. Standard for IASC is IAS, International Accounting Standards. But IASB, they still adopted the IAS. So that is why we have two standards, no, the IFRS and then the IAS plus the interpretation. And then Philippines, so we still adopt the IAS. We call that PAS. No, the PAS. And then we also adapted or based our standards on IFRS. So muna siyang old, muna siyang new. So we have the PFRS. So like for example, you have property, plant, and equipment. So how will you account those transactions, no? Those property, plant, and equipment acquired. So you can refer to the standards specifically for the property, plant, and equipment. So it's either PAS or PFRS. So mga modern modifications under na siya ni PFRS. So the IASC, the old standard setting body was founded in June 1973. So it was established as a result of an agreement by accountancy bodies and 10 national jurisdictions which constituted the original board, namely, so we have the Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Japan, Mexico, the Netherlands, the UK, Ireland, and the USA. So they decided, and then it resulted to IASC. Due process, the IFRS are developed through an international due process that involves accountants and other various interested individuals and organizations from around the world. Due process normally involves the following steps. First, the staff identifies and reviews issues associated with the topic and considers the application of the conceptual framework in the issues. So there's a certain transaction that don't have a standard yet, so they will identify it and review and then incorporate the conceptual framework. Then study of national accounting requirements and practice, including consultation with national standard setters. So still no, we need to consult the national standard setters, consulting the trustees and the advisory council about the advisability of adding the topic to the IASB agenda. Then the formation of an advisory group to give advice to the IASB and the project. And then publishing a discussion document for public comment. Diba? One of the branch of accounting is accounting research. So sometimes those person in charge or those person that are under accounting research or they do research, sometimes you will encounter a certain issue that don't have a standard yet. So they will identify, prepare that standard, and then raise it, or forward it to the standard setters if it is applicable or if it is generally acceptable to the users, or that is a generally acceptable accounting principle. Then publishing an exposure draft. So mauna siya, they will need to publish an exposure draft for public comment if na ay mga say or comment public. Publishing with an exposure draft, a basis for conclusion, and the alternative views of any IASB member who opposes publication. If someone opposes, so they will create conclusions and other alternative. Consideration of all comments received, holding a public hearing and conducting field test if necessary, publishing standard including a basis for conclusion, explaining among other things the steps and the IASB's due process and how the IASB dealt with public comments, exposure drafts, and then dissenting the opinion. So therefore, we can conclude that a standard is tested by fire na ni siya. So daghan na ni siya na naagyaan. So you cannot say that those standards are wrong because it was it has undergone due process. Other relevant international organizations, so we have the IFRIC, the International Financial Reporting Interpretations Committee. Okay, could you please read Patrera? What is IFRIC? Ofrera?
Good afternoon. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Could you please read?
International Financial Reporting Interpretation Committee is a committee that prepares interpretation of how certification should be for under the application of IFRS, where the standards do not include important guidance and there is a risk of diversion and unacceptable accounting practices. The IFRIC is composed mostly of technical audit firms, also includes prepared users. IFRIC replaced a former second interpretation committee, SIC, which had been created by the IASC. All of the SIC interpretation have been adopted by the IASB.
All right. So, those or the one in charge for the interpretation for all the standards is the IFRIC. So they're the one who support or give support to the FRSC or the IASB. So if a standard do not include specific authoritative guidance, so dira mosulod si IFRIC. If there is a risk of divergent and unacceptable accounting practice, so they will investigate. So the IFRIC, as you can see, mostly are technical partners and audit firms. So mga kuan gini sila expert. So before, the name of IFRIC is SIC, Standing Interpretations Committee. So today, it is called IFRIC IFRIC. International Financial Reporting Interpretations Committee. Next, we have the SAC, or the IFRS Advisory Council. Could you please read Gonzaga Dex?
Good evening, Miss.
Good evening.
IFRS Advisory Council, or previously known as the Standards Advisory Council (SAC), is a group of organizations and individuals with an interest in international financial reporting. The Advisory Council's role includes advising on priorities with the IASB work program. The IASB is required to consult with the Advisory Council in advance of any board decisions on major projects that it wishes to add the agenda. Members of the Advisory Council are appointed by the IFRS Foundation, which also appoints members to the IASB. These members are drawn from different geographic locations and have a wide variety of backgrounds, including users, preparers, academicians, auditors, analysts, regulators, and professional accounting bodies.
Yes. Okay. So, Advisory Council. So, still they are part, or they are considered the support system of the IASB. They are the one who gives advice to any board decisions or major projects of the IASB. Okay, we have the International Federation of Accountants. Could you please read? Mijares? Rixie?
Yes.
Could you please read number 3?
International Federation of IFAC is a non-profit governmental political organization of accountancy bodies that represents the worldwide accountancy profession. Its mission is to develop and enhance the profession to provide services of consistently high quality in the public interest. Membership of the IFAC is open to all accountancy bodies recognized by law or consensus within their countries.
All right. So we have the federation. So actually, it is for the public interest. Now, if you're commoner lang, or a stakeholder, or a public stakeholder, and you want to know or to inquire certain standards no, or interpretation, so pwede ka direct to International Federation of Accountants. Then we also have the International Organization of Securities Commission. Could you please read Habarles, Ivy?
Good evening, Miss. International Organization of Securities Commissions, or IOSCO, is an international body of security commissions. The Philippines SEC is a member of IOSCO.
Yeah, so they're the one who regulate the corporation and partnership of a global sector, so international. So SEC Philippines are under IOSCO. So move to IFRS, or move to International Financial Reporting Standards. So prior to the full adoption of the IFRS in 2005, the accounting standards used in the Philippines were previously based on US GAAP. So example, the Statement of Financial Accounting Standards issued by the Federal Accounting Standards Board, the US GAAP is the Statement of Financial Accounting Standards issued by the Federal Accounting Standards Board, so the US National Standard Setting Body. So before the implementation or adoption of IFRS, we have two bases for a standard. We can use the IAS, the International Accounting Standards, and then we can also use the US GAAP, or the US Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. So some of the standards in the US GAAP are not generally accepted. So that is why we need to move on to IFRS, because IFRS is the globally accepted international or globally accepted accounting standards. So the move to IFRS was primarily brought about by the increasing acceptance of IFRS worldwide and increasing globalization of businesses, thereby increasing the need for a common financial reporting standards that minimize, if not eliminated, inconsistencies of financial reporting among nations. In the US GAAP, some of their standards are only applicable to US. Some of their standards are not applicable to Europe and Asia. So that is why they discuss it, and then later they provide or prepare a certain organization, the IASB, that will be the one to create or implement certain standards in the future. And that is the IFRS. So for now, the major standards that the accounting profession are using is the IFRS. So IFRS or the PFRS in the Philippines. So the future of IFRS. A significant milestone toward achieving the goal of having one set of global standard was reached in October 2002 when the Financial Accounting Standards Board and the IASB entered into a memorandum of understanding called the Norwalk Agreement. So ang FASB, mauna siya ang sa US, and they're the one who created the US GAAP, while the IASB, they're the one who created the IFRS. So they have an agreement, which is the Norwalk Agreement, that they will also follow the IASB standards. So in this agreement, the FASB and the IASB formalized their commitment to the convergence of US GAAP and IFRS by agreeing to use their best effort to make their existing financial reporting standards fully compatible as soon as practicable, minimize differences, and coordinate their future work programs to ensure that once achieved, compatibility is maintained. So actually, si US karon, they also followed most of the IFRS standards or IFR standards. But still, I don't know lang if napay mga certain differences now between US GAAP and IFRS. But because of the agreement, most of their differences are minimized. Changes in reporting standards. Once established, financial reporting standards are continuously reviewed, revised, or superseded. Changes to reporting standards are primarily made in response to users' needs. Users' needs for financial information change into a must of financial reporting standards in order to continually provide useful information. Legal, political, business, and social environments also influence changes in reporting standards. Regulatory bodies, lobbyists, laws and regulations, and changes in economic environments affect the choice of accounting treatment provided under the reporting standards. So that is why there's what we call the update in financial reporting, because there are instances that they will modify or change some provisions in a certain standard. Especially, the common example are the leases. Lease, or in layman's term na to, is rent. Murag common siya na to as rent, or kung naamoy makita ang mga lot for lease, muna siyang ginatawag na lease. Before, it has a certain standard, then later on, it was modified. Up until now, they are still modifying it. So, muna siya kalisod sa lease. Later on in your financial accounting or intermediate, you will learn how to account leases. So, muna siya mga common example. Also, we have mga most complicated lang actually ng mga items ang ilang gina-revise. But in some cases, like the accounting for cash, or accounting for inventory, or accounting for other items, wala may mga major changes. Ang mga pinaka-common yung mga ma-change is like investments, especially like right now, the Bitcoin emerges. So how can you account the cryptocurrency? So muna siya mga common or latest na mga discuss karon for sa accounting standards, due to the change in certain factors like economy and legal, political. Okay, the end. So, narata siya about the accounting standards, the history of Accounting Standards Board, or the accounting standard setting bodies, as well as the branches and the sectors of the accounting profession. So we're done with the overview of the financial, or overview of accounting. Okay, so do you have any question about the topic or the topics that we have already discussed? Again, I believe some of you have the Win Baliada book. You can still refer to his book, especially for some or additional information for these topics, especially the history. Medyo detailed si Win Baliada for the history of IFRS. And then as well as additional information for the accounting concepts and accounting standards. Okay, so this time, if you have any concerns, na ay mga pinag-chat sa ako ang wala na ako natubag. So could you please ask your concern na lang diri kung sa itong mga question? Wala na question? So some of you ask the schedule of examination. Okay, kanina lang una. The managerial economics. So maybe no, you are confused about the course description of your subject. So the BEM 040 actually it is a managerial economics, but Sir Fritz advised me to discuss the conceptual framework. So that is why I discussed to you the conceptual framework. So actually, it is very new for me, no, the managerial accounting. So I really don't know the content of managerial account or managerial economics. No, if sana siya ang inclusion. But at first, nagitagaan niya ako na I will discuss corporation and partnership. But I think si Miss Joy ata ang nag-discuss na for the corporation and partnership and corporation, no, the PARCOR. So he said na I will just discuss the conceptual framework. So I think no, wala pa man ninyo na discuss ni ang conceptual framework on your other subjects. Siguro mas important man no, you cannot define or you cannot understand accounting if you will not understand, no, or internalize conceptual framework and accounting standards. So never mind na si managerial economics, no, we will just focus on conceptual framework and accounting standards. And then for the schedule, so our schedule is Monday and Thursday. So we will just start 6 p.m. but maybe sometimes, no, I'll just inform you if we will start at 6:30 because my out is 6 p.m. and sometimes there are pahabol na mga meetings. So like ganiha. And then we'll end at 8:30. But if we have kung na-early end na to ang topic, pwede rasad na to nga early punta ka out, no, or ka-stop. So, and then for the quizzes, I think online quiz ra ko as of now since nga na ay mga strike karon, and then in my part sad, no, I cannot have my quiz face to face if dili advance na ako mahatag sa kay Miss Shin. So therefore on Thursday, I'll give you a quiz regarding our what we have discussed, from Thursday and today, about the overview of accounting. So for the schedule of quizzes, actually I haven't have a schedule yet. So I'll just inform you ahead of time. Like for example, like today, no, Monday, so you still have ample of time to study for the quiz on Thursday. Then if sa Thursday tamahuman, so Monday ang quizzes or in some other time like in Thursday. Okay ra ninyo that we don't have one schedules ra? No, but I will inform you ahead of time. Pila ka items need gid ninyo mahibaw-an kung pila ka items. No. Surprise ang item kung pila ka items. For the tanan ka mo naanay mga examos account. Do you have an examos account, class? All of you? Okay. So I'll just study examos because I haven't tried it yet. No, we'll try examos. So on Thursday, we will do our quiz on examos. And then later, I'll just, but I would like to try, the examos. Always ra ko ga G-form. So mag-examos na lang ko on Thursday. But if dili na ako makaya study ang examos, we will have a G-form. Pero mas kuha na siya. So na-twist ako ang G-form. Okay, so I'll just inform you ahead of time if unsang gamiton, examos or G-form. But still, ang topic mo ra gihapon, the overview of accounting. Dagang error? Okay. Murag na-discuss man ako last time that for quizzes, we can do quizzes online or face-to-face if I have time no, nga maka-prepare ahead of time na makasend ako kay machine. And for the periodic exam 1, 2, and then the final exam, all good na no, face-to-face. Always good na siya face-to-face. Okay, so ang exam, dili ta mag-online, face-to-face ra. Unsay alternative if di mag-take? Nganong di mag-take? Di maka-take? So just give me no reason lang anong dili maka-take quizzes and so on. Kay online naman. Kung outside Cebu, for the quizzes, you can still take your quiz no if you are outside Cebu because you need to kung exam balik yun mo sa Cebu. No, kaya I think most of your subjects man is mag face to face. So need gihapon ninyo magbalik sa Cebu. Okay, sorry. So for those who are asking now for the for the examination, so there's no online examination. So we need to conduct our examination face to face. So if you are outside in Cebu, so you need to come here in Cebu for the exam. So I think some of your subjects are also will conduct it in face to face setup. So same ra ang effect. Okay? So do you still have questions? So if not, we'll just end it here and see you next week for our quiz and another discussions. Yes, we will. I will upload the PowerPoint tonight, after the class. Okay, so if no questions, wait. Okay, wala na. Okay, so if you don't have any questions so far, we will just end it here. We will end our discussion for tonight. So thank you, class, for your time and see you next week.